Darkness has fallen. The predatory culture has ascended. The purges have begun. The politically unclean are being driven from the public square. If history is our guide, we have reason to be afraid. Does anyone even remember who the Armenians were? No? What about the gypsies? Do you even know what a gypsy is? Or was? What about you? Will you be remembered? Will anyone care? Do those questions bother you? Do you understand why they bother you? Are you wondering why I'm asking you about it? It's no secret that we are a country divided. Sadly, it's also no secret that many, on both sides, want things to stay that way. So the question we all have to ask ourselves is, what do we do now? For 4 years, an ever-increasing portion of our countrymen have been encouraged to openly despise their fellows. We have gorged ourselves at the table of hate until all bonds of fellowship have withered to the point some are openly calling for lists to be compiled of all wrong-thinking individuals. We have become a nation of children who cannot tolerate being told no, but who individually believe the civil police forces, if they should exist at all, exist exclusively to do their will. We weaponize language while advocating the public lynching of free men and women who politically disagree with us. This eternal symphony of dissension has been masterfully conducted by the unfaithful servants we entrusted to work our will within the Republic. A disloyal cadre of opportunistic charlatans who long since abandoned any pretense of representative government, playing the mob of pure democracy like a discordant pipe organ of despotic authoritarianism. So, if this is the situation we have allowed to develop, the obvious question is, what do we do now? What will you do? Will you uproot yourself? Move to another country? Where? 4 decades ago, President Reagan pointed out that if America, the last light of freedom in the world, were to fall, the entire world would be overcome by a darkness that might well last for centuries. Our historical allies in the West have long since been lost to the internal rot of socialism. Now they openly make war upon their own cultures. America was the last sentinel against the night. That flame, deprived of free oxygen, is sputtering. So I ask again, if you leave, where will you go? Will you become an expatriate, abandoning perhaps the only lifestyle and custom you have ever known, to become just one more immigrant among foreign peoples who, if possible, despise you even more than your native countrymen? Will you hide, taking to the brush like an escaped convict living out the fantasy of the prepared survivor, disappearing into the old growth with only a pack on your back, raw nerve, and tenacity to live free? Good luck with that. Most of the truly prepared among us have already made that move, spending thousands of dollars, decades of time, and years of labor building a truly self-sufficient hearth for kith and kin. They neither ask for help nor seek to aid the misery of 1,000 refugees just like you in your backpack, and have but a single question of their own. We tried to warn you. Why didn't you listen? These are also the people who will, more than likely, find what is left of you in the woods and be forced to take valuable time out of their day to do the decent thing. Will you rise like righteous banshees, firm in your patriotic conviction and determined to free yourselves from the shackles of tyranny, as you define it, like your famous and venerated forefathers? Do you understand that the self-defined patriots of the Confederacy told themselves the exact same things? Every revolution ever fought in Mexico began this same way, with the powerless and oppressed being stirred into revolution to right the scales of social justice by the bloviated infernos of demagogues who inevitably never see a battlefield. You see, the single, unalterable truth about all revolutions, no matter the location or participation, is that, in the end, the wrong people always die. Will you become a thrall? Are you one already? Hiding in plain sight, conforming to every new edict, remaking yourself over and over again in the face of each new and increasingly invasive demand. When the unconstitutional requirements originate from private sector groups with no authority, but are quickly given the color of law by individuals who will sacrifice anything in the name of power, what will you do when reality itself is redefined, eventually on a daily basis? When you are told to ignore your senses in favor of the party line, what will you do? When those in power, seeking to distract the attention of the masses, ultimately fall back on the most archaic of political tools, the scapegoat, when they have eventually found their Armenians, what will you do? I don't have any answers for you. No single person will. Our course into this darkness was charted by many, even those who did nothing. No one of us will find the way out, not for all of us. We must each take stock individually. We must look to the future, perhaps for the first time with unblinking veracity. How we got here is a discussion for the future. What I and your countrymen ask is, what will you do now?